Good evening, and thank you for joining us today. If you have joined us in other events where we are covering the learning platform Seesaw and Google Classroom, you will find that this session is a little bit more condensed, and we have done so to allow for you to ask questions and to make sure that those are addressed. Next, please. Our agenda begins with Clever. We will learn what Clever is. We will visit with Seesaw and learn how to gain access to Seesaw through Clever. We will understand the student's screen components, and we will also learn how to post work, find work, and view our teachers' feedback. We will also quiz you tonight and make sure that you know the key factors that will allow for you to access Seesaw and Google Classroom without any problems. Following Seesaw, we will cover Google Classroom. Again, we will learn how to gain access to Google Classroom through Clever. We will understand the Google Classroom main components, specifically the stream and the classwork pages. We will learn how to view assignments. Because of the time constraint, we will learn just some of the many ways you can view assignments. And we will also learn how to turn in work and view your grades and feedback from your teachers. Again, we will kind of ask you 3 questions at the end of the Google Classroom portion. And then at the end, if you have anything else to add, any other inquiries, we will try to address them as well. Let's begin with Clever. Clever is nothing but a portal. It is a platform for the different platforms that your student has access to. In other words, what it does is it houses all the login information for every single resource that your student has access to. Instead of having to log into Google Classroom and then to Nearpod and then to all these other different platforms, what Clever does is it provides a menu of options. You log in only once with your Dallas ISD credentials, and then you open that portal. That's why it's called a portal, so that you can click on different icons and get into the landing screen of the different applications or different resources that you have access to. The way you can find Clever, you have different ways. You can actually Google Clever Dallas ISD, and your Google search will return the link for your students to log into Clever. Or you can go to our Dallas ISD website and search within the website for Clever. This will give you a search that will return a list similar to the one on the screen. You will see that there will be a G, a colorful G, and beneath it, you might see C, and that would be the icon for Clever. You want to make sure that you click on the G for Google so that that will redirect you so that you can actually enter the system, the Clever system, through your Dallas ISD ID. Next slide. So once you are in a computer, right, or in a Chromebook, you will land on a page similar to this one. Notice you have, again, that colorful G, and you will log in with Google. And before we move on to how it looks with the student devices, I will ask you it shouldn't be which icon, A or B, is the right icon to get your students into the Dallas ISD resources.
Is your video on?
Okay, so next slide, please. If you selected A, that is correct. You will have to click on the G for Google to log into Clever from your Dallas ISD website. Next, please. Okay, so now let's talk about how we get into Clever with your different student devices. So whether your student has a Chromebook, I'm hearing feedback, or an iPad, the student will make sure that they log into all the different resources through Clever. So you would want to go to your Chrome browser in your Chromebook, and you will have the same dynamics where you will actually search for your Clever and then log in. On the other hand, if you have an iPad, You want to make sure that you have your Clever icon, the app for the iPad. If you do not, for any reason, there is another app that comes with your iPad that is called self-service. That self-service is a menu of apps where you can download what applies to you so that you can use it with your iPad. Next slide, please. Okay, so once you are in Clever, once you've gotten past all the process of logging in, whether it is with an iPad, a laptop, or a Chromebook, this is basically what Clever will display. You will have a series of options. You will see a section, you will find a section called Student Tools. And beneath the Student Tools, you will have the different resources that your student has access to. So not all the menus for every student is the same. So we have to look for, in our case, Seesaw or Google Classroom. Google Classroom's icon, next slide, is the one I have circled here for you. That will take you to the Google Classroom landing page. Next slide. And then in my case, I had to scroll down a little bit because I had many icons. And the one I have circled here for you is the Seesaw icon. So you want to make sure it's something familiar to you. It's something that you will know where to find it and which of the icons you have to select so that you can access those two platforms. Next slide. Okay, so again, let's make sure that we know what our icons look like. Which of the images that you see here, A or B, is the icon for Google Classroom? Yay, yes, that's correct. It is B. Next slide. Thank you so much. Thank you for participating. Okay, and then what about Seesaw? Perfect. Awesome, outstanding. Yes, it is A. Okay, so make sure that you know what they look like. Let's begin with an overview of Seesaw. Seesaw is the platform that our lower grade levels use for school. So we have our kindergarten, pre-K, first and second graders using Seesaw, okay? So this is not something that third grade necessarily will see. The district has provided for the lower grade levels this great platform for that is very friendly for our younger students. Next slide. Okay, so make sure one thing. We have spoken about getting into Seesaw through Clever. We want to make sure that if you are using a tablet, which will be probably the case because our younger students are the ones who have tablets, you want to make sure that you also download your Seesaw Class app. If you are familiar with Seesaw, you may know what the Seesaw Family app is. That is a platform that facilitates communication between the community, the student support system, whether it be guardians or parents, and the teacher. But the class app is the actual platform, the academic platform, where your student will be able to work, to receive assignments, and to receive that feedback from teachers. When you log into Seesaw, or you get into that landing page, it will ask you if you are a teacher or a student or a family member. In this case, we are focusing tonight on the students' view of Seesaw, and we will select I'm a student. When you select I'm a student, then Seesaw is going to ask you for your code. Every student has a unique code. The code is a 16-letter code that basically looks like a credit card number, but it's all letters. And if you see the example on the upper left-hand corner of the screen, that's basically what a code would typically look like. Again, every student has this unique 16-letter code. You would enter it in the space provided below and click on Go. Once you finally get into Seesaw, this is what you will see. This is the first landing page. And Seesaw is nothing but a great journal, workspace where your students can annotate and write into their journal, or they can actually submit assignments that the teacher is able to assign through that platform. So this is your main screen, and what we will do to approach this view is we will start with the left side of the screen where you see those three boxes. If you notice, those three boxes are just tabs that will open up different options. And they are the journal, the activities tab, and the inbox tab. So we will look at them from left to right. Let's begin with the journal tab. The journal tab is just that. It will display on the left side of the screen what has been posted by the student. You will see works that are already posted and with graded with teacher feedback, or you will see posts that are not approved yet by the teacher, and you will know that by a blue bar above the post where it will say waiting for teacher approval. So all of that you will see. It's basically you will open up that journal for your student to see. The next tab, next slide, is the activities tab. The activities tab will allow for you to work with some filters. Because your journals can get very long and you can end up with many posts by this time of the year, you can filter your view of the left side by looking only at the to-do assignments, which are the pending assignments, the ones that are done, and it says here calendar, and the calendar. So again, this is a filter that will facilitate, the view of a journal, especially if it has become very busy well into the school year. Next slide. We have here the inbox, and the inbox is nothing but a space where you will receive the announcements your teacher may post. Next slide. Okay, so let's take a look at the activities because we're going to look at how we would turn in work, okay? So again, we can go back to activities and look at the to-do assignments, but then there is another indicator, very easy to view, very easy to see, very convenient as well, which is a circle, a red little circle, right? That will have a number in it. And that number just indicates the number of pending assignments your student has. So it's a very convenient way to see right away, as soon as you get into the journal, what's going on in terms of work that needs to be done. Next slide. Okay, so what do pending assignments look like? When a teacher has posted an assignment with a series of instructions, with some attachments, and all the things that are necessary, the materials that are necessary to complete that assignment, they will look like this. So in this case, you're looking at a view on the left screen. You're looking at a view that has sort of boxes, white boxes, with that green button that says add response. That is where your student would click on so that they can open up the assignments and see the details of that assignment. Again, this is when your teacher has actually created an assignment and handed it out to your students through the Seesaw platform. There are other ways to do work as well, and we will go over that really quick in just a moment. So let's go on to the next slide. Okay, so here's what happens. So there are times that a teacher may want to have your students post something in the journal, but she didn't necessarily create an assignment. He or she will say, I need you to post by tomorrow your thoughts on our discussion this morning. So what that would mean is that the student will not see an actual assignment to click add a response to. In that case, what they would do is select the green circle at the very top with a plus sign, and that will open up a workspace so that they can complete their assignment. Their tools will be very varied. There is varied amount of tools. There is a lot of things that they can do to submit an assignment, from taking a photo, from even recording their screen. They can record their voices. They can upload files, add links, even add videos. So this is an array of options that the student will have to do their work. Okay, so let's see what we've learned about Seesaw. Okay, what does that mean? So we have this square here with activities, and then we have a sort of indicator telling us something about 27. What does that mean? Click next, and yes, I see some correct answers. If you selected pending assignments, that's exactly what that 27 means. We have 27 pending assignments. We hope we never see a number that large. Next slide, please. Question number 2, which one do you use to submit work assigned by your teacher within Seesaw? Correct. If you selected B, that is the correct answer. Remember, the circle with the plus sign is when there is no post by your teacher, but you do have to turn in something. Next slide. And then question number 3, well, what is that? I just gave you the answer. What is that? To post an announcement or to post the work, a work piece in your journal? Correct, to post your work. Now we will move on to Google Classroom. I encourage you to post any questions you may have so that we can address them towards the end of the session. If you have something in mind regarding Seesaw, just go ahead and post it and we'll try to take care of it. We're moving on to Google Classroom, which is the platform of choice of many teachers for grades third grade to senior high school. So we have here a landing page, or what some people call the dashboard, and it contains different cards or tiles, if you will. These tiles or cards are the different Google Classroom your student is in, okay? And it's as easy as clicking on any one of them to enter the classroom. Once you enter any classroom, you will end up in a page called the stream page. Notice at the very top where I circled the 3 tabs, you end up having 3 tabs just like in Seesaw. Very different to Seesaw, but still we have 3 tabs. And tonight we will focus on the stream, the far left tab, and the middle one, the classwork tab. So what is the stream tab? Basically, the name explains it. It is just a stream of posts, whether it be an announcement, whether it be posting materials, whether it be an assignment. You will see the different posts from your teacher in the order in which they were sent, with the newest, the most recent post at the very top. So the older post would be towards the bottom. And then to the left of that large circle, you see upcoming. If there were any assignments with a due date created by the teacher, and that due date is, is coming up, then you would have that assignment description there, and you can even click on there to go straight to that assignment. So this is a very convenient page. You land on this page when you get into Google Classroom, and you can see right there on the left what's going on. What's the next thing I have to do? What's pressing? Okay. So next slide, please. The next tab, the middle one, is the classwork tab. It is basically the same information from the stream, but more organized. It is tailored to your teacher's liking. So your teacher it's very flexible. So your teacher can basically create different topics, which would create sections so that they can organize the material. So at this time of the school year, we're well into the school year, chances are your students are familiarized with how each of their teachers organize the material in their Google Classroom. They can organize it by week. They can organize it by standard, by skills. We can organize it by chapters, by units, homework versus classwork. This is something that the teacher will decide, and they can do it the way it works for that class. So if you have an assignment anywhere in the classwork page, you click on the assignment, and what you do is you open up that assignment to see the details of it. So in this example, you have a series of steps, 1, 2, and 3, and then you have a series of attachments. Well, these attachments are different things. One of them that you see there is a link. It's a simple link to BrainPop. There is another link to a PDF file, which is a quiz, a BrainPop quiz. And then right below is a Google form. So an assignment can contain a wide variety of components so that your student can work on that assignment. If you click on the bottom where it says new assignment, then again, you open up another option. You still see the same components, the steps and whatnot, but then towards the right, you have a series of options to turn in work. Okay, and we'll look at that in a minute. Next slide. Another way to find assignments, and this is a new feature that Google rolled out a couple of months ago, is that you don't even have to go to one specific classroom to find out what works are pending, what assignments are pending. Actually, Google has placed this to-do button at the very dashboard. And if you click on that to-do button, you will be able to see a list of all your assignments that are pending in all of your classes, in all of your Google classes. So that is very convenient. You don't have to go to each one and find where your different assignments are. So you want to check that out because it's a great, very convenient feature. Next slide. Okay, so here we are ready to turn in work. So we know where to find the assignments. There are multiple ways. I have not discussed all the ways you can do it, but with the information we have tonight, we can actually find the students' work in Google Classroom, and you can submit work. Google Classroom provides for your student to attach any file, to provide a link, to bring in material from their Google Drive and attach it to the assignment, or they can create right there and then a Google product using docs, slides, sheets, or drawing. In other words, you do not, if you want to submit a Google Doc, you do not have to go out of Google Classroom into Google Docs to create the docs to then attach it. And same with slides, sheets, and drawings. If you are going to create it in the moment to submit it as your work, you can click on any of the options on the bottom group where you see the brackets, and we will be able to just open up these apps and create whatever we need to do, and then just add it to our submission, to the work that we will submit. Once you turn in work, you will, just before you actually submit it, you will see everything you have attached. So at the very top right, you will, if you attach to Google Docs, if you attach a file or a link, it'll tell you all the things that you added as your work before you actually turn in. The green button, just like Seesaw, is for turning in your work. When you click on turn in, then it'll ask for confirmation, and it will even tell you, okay, so you attached such and such files, are you ready to turn it in? So once you click turn in a second time, then you will know that you have actually completed that submission, because your turn in button will turn into an unsubmit button. In other words, Google Classroom even gives you an opportunity to recover your work if your teacher hasn't reviewed it yet, in case you want to make changes. Okay, so how do we view graded work? Graded work in Google Classroom is called returned work. So if you hover, or you actually go into your classwork page and you click on view work buttons that is at the very top left, it'll open up a series of a list of all your assignments. And then just like Seesaw, you can actually filter it. So notice that the filters below the all that is in green, they say assigned, returned, and missing. So you can actually filter your list of assignments that way. Missing assignments would only appear if your teacher assigned something with a date, because then Google Classroom will keep track of that date. And if you have passed the deadline for the submission, it'll reflect as a missing work, as a missing assignment. Next slide. So if you click on returned and you see all your returned work on one side, click on any one of those assignments, then you open up to see your grade and even feedback from your teacher if she has posted anyone. So in this case, my teacher, Dina Perez, who is my colleague, she provided feedback, and I have 100 out of 100 as a grade on the top right. Okay, so let's see if we have some key knowledge so that we can start exploring Google Classroom. The first question is, under which tab can you find assignments posted by your teacher? Okay, so I see A and B. Well, it's actually both, guys, because even though we like the presentation under the classwork tab, remember that the stream tab is a feed of everything that the teacher does, okay? It is not as nicely organized, but you can definitely find work under the stream tab as well, okay? So I got you with that one. Next one, question number 2. True or false, under the stream tab, the oldest post, whether an announcement or assignment, appears at the very top. I see a sad face on the chat. Is it true or false? Do we have oldest post at the top? How does that go? It is false, correct. So what we see at the very top of the stream is the most recent post. Next slide. And then number 3, what are graded assignments called in Google Classroom? Perfect. Returned work. Next slide. Do we have any questions that we have some time? I don't know. Our host let us know if we have even a window of 1 or 2 minutes, and I would be glad to answer any question. And if we do not have any more questions or anything, make sure that, thank you, make sure that you check out for different quick guides that we have developed. We might actually have those available at some point whenever you request them. Thank you so much for being here tonight, and I'll have Mr. Mondragon get back with you.